Welcome back to our third scenario for the webinar, Gifted Identification Assessment Practices. Please locate Dustin's body of evidence now. Let me introduce you to Dustin. He is a very well-liked boy with a precocious vocabulary. He is currently a third grade student at an elementary school in a rural district. This summer, his doctor diagnosed him with having ADHD. However, his parents have chosen not to use medication. He loves math and he scores very well on his math assessments. He's able to explain math concepts and he processes very well. Now, he was identified last year as needing a read plan. Let's take a look at his preliminary data. In his school, all second graders participate in 8 planned experiences from the Kingor Observation Inventory, known as KOI. As all students complete the activities, the teacher observes students who demonstrate evidence of the following traits: advanced language, analytical thinking, meaning motivation, perspective, sense of humor, sensitivity, and accelerated learning in any content area. Now, as the teacher sees evidence of a student demonstrating a particular trait, he or she jots down the student's name next to the trait. At the completion of the planned experiences, the teacher uses a rating scale provided with KOI to rate the students whose names appear on the jot-down list. A ranking of a very superior is quite rare and indicates the student may require additional assessments to measure these observed abilities. Now remember, data from KOI may not be used as qualifying data because it has not been nationally normed. Based on this KOI information, Dustin's teacher brings his name up at their next review team meeting. She shares he is being referred based on the KOI data and asks the team to review his other data. Let's examine Dustin's current data. His school gives the NWEA MAPS Normed Reference Standardized Achievement Test. So far, they have given 2 of those assessments, beginning of the year and mid-year. You'll notice his reading national percentile ranking was 13 at the beginning of the year and 17 mid-year. His math national percentile ranking was at the 95th percent beginning of the year and a 98th percentile mid-year. Let's take a look at his 3 years worth of DIBELS data. In kindergarten, he entered school below benchmark, indicated by the red or pink score. The remainder of kindergarten, he did meet benchmark and was at benchmark throughout first grade, as indicated by green. However, in second grade, at the beginning, mid, and end of the year assessment, he was below the cut point. Therefore, at the end of second grade, Dustin is placed on a read plan. Would like to remind you that READ Act assessment data are not used as qualifying evidence for gifted identification. These type of assessments are diagnostic in nature and measure foundational skills, not exceptionality. One of the teachers on the review team states, "This student is on a read plan. He can't be gifted." The identification team lead states, "I'd like to move this student to MTSS. The wide range of scores in his data indicate a possible learning disability." Through MTSS, it is determined a cognitive abilities test will be administered to Dustin and a student interview will also be conducted. Let's take a look at the COGAT scores. In the area of verbal, he scored at the 48th percentile, in quantitative, the 98th percentile, and in nonverbal, the 97th percentile. During his student interview, Dustin indicated, "I really like to build things. I think I'm really good at telling jokes. I do these math puzzles on the computer at home and I really enjoy those. And I think my best subject is math, but I am really bad at reading and spelling, and I hate writing." As you reflect on the decision that you think should be made regarding Dustin's identification, please review this pathway. This graphic represents identification in the area of general or specific intellectual ability. ECEA rules state a review team may determine a student qualifies for gifted identification with a score of 95th percentile or above on one or more batteries of a cognitive assessment. In this case, the student would be identified in the area of general or specific intellectual ability, and this meets portability requirements. However, it is very important to understand gifted identification is never made just using one score and not continuing to collect other additional data to review. Additional data must be collected to build a student profile. This might include conducting an interview of the student or other teachers, having the student, parent, or teachers complete a checklist or an inventory, conducting a student observation, or viewing a student performance. It is now time to pause and discuss as the MTSS and Gifted Identification team, what would you do next with Dustin? Pause the webinar now and conduct this discussion with your group.